Good morning, everyone. We'll be starting in just a moment. Thank you all for joining today. Perfect. Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you all so much for joining PCR SBDC as we review with you RAMP, the Regional Alliance Marketplace for Procurement. We've got some great folks on the call to go through this, so we're going to go through a little bit of information from PCR and the SBDC. And so we welcome you all. Today is the last day of Women's History Month. There's so many women that have paved the way. We're so, we're happy. There are a lot of business entrepreneurs, women that have paved the way for other entrepreneurs. And then we also want to recognize equal pay for women in all areas. We want to make sure women business owners pay themselves. And then also get paid in the corporate environment as well. So as we celebrate Women's History today, we hope that you guys will remember the great advances that women have contributed to society, and that isn't all, that there's more to come. So we will move forward with that. And I'm Colette Moore. I'm the director of PCR SBDC, and I was a previous business owner. I had a staffing company for 8 years, and I was also a client of PCR and the SBDC. I was a good client. I was a not so good client. So we hope that you guys will be better clients as you go forward, that you will learn and that you will apply all of the great information that the SBDC is able to share with you. We also have a great presenter in Jack Ochoa. Some of you all are familiar with Jack because Jack is an advisor with our center. But Jack is also, today, he is representing his business. And so he's the founder of Infinity Government Procurement Consulting, LLC. And he's been a business and community leader dedicated to supplier diversity and inclusion for more than 25 years. Jack has held various top corporate and small business positions with minority business groups and education outreach organizations across California. Mr. Ochoa remains focused on dedicated on supplier diversity as well. And he's been instrumental actually in designing and writing new small business enterprise and veteran-owned business procurement policies that can be utilized today to support leveling the playing field. What drives Jack, and you'll hear some of that today, the desire to champion for and empower small business owners to grow their businesses through successful buying relationships with government agencies. And so we're so happy to have Jack on our team. And then today as part of his own organization. So welcome, Jack, and you guys will hear from Jack in just a second. So for those that might be new to PCR SBDC, you are participating in a national program with over 1,000 centers across the country. We're a proud partner with the SBA and then also with the state of California and GoBiz, as well as other funders that support this program. So we're providing business consulting, workshops, resources, throughout LA County during the pandemic. Many of you have been with us to get help with funding and other resources. And so we appreciate that you all have chosen to work with us during a very difficult period. And all of this is free of charge. That is not no cost. So we appreciate when you all, when you register and come, and when you make it to your one-on-one advisements, because that is funded, but it is also your good taxpayer dollars at work. And so we all want to use our taxpayer dollars well. So we've got a quick couple of polls that we're going to ask today. First question for those of you participating today is, are you certified with the City of Los Angeles? So I want to know, are you a certified business with the City of Los Angeles? Let's see who's on the call today. Okay, some of you are. Go ahead, put your answers in. Okay, let's hear from a few more that are here. A couple more, 10 seconds. All right, great. All right, so let's go ahead and share the poll. So great. So 43% of you actually are certified with the city. So that's perfect. And this program is something that you have are already maybe familiar with and being in that certification. But for 57% of you, almost 60%, that's a no. So happy that you could join. And then now we have another quick question to ask for all of our participants. So next question. Have you received a government contract of any type in the last 5 years? Have you received a government contract in the last 5 years? Yes or no? And let's see where we stand. Okay. All right, let's get a couple of more responses in. 10 seconds. Thank you guys for participating. All right, and let's go ahead and show the poll. So 87%, that would be a no. So here's the opportunity here to learn more. And we are working in this space and have been receiving help on the procurement side, but we want you all to be able to participate. And we have a special guest on today who actually, this is perfect for her to hear some of the responses from our participants today and to help all of our small business better participate in the procurement process. So with that, we are going to turn it over to Jack Ochoa to take us through the RAMP procurement. All right, welcome, Jack.
No, thank you so much. So I want to hand it over immediately over to Shannon so she can introduce herself. I think it's important for everybody to know that who she is and what she has done to get us to this point, something that Jack has been waiting for 20 years. So Shannon, go ahead, take it away.
Thanks for that introduction. Appreciate it, and very much appreciate the opportunity to be here with all of you today. Just very quickly, again, my name is Shannon Hompus. I'm the Chief Procurement Officer with the Mayor's Office of Budget and Innovation. You'll see that slide very quickly. Make sure you get my name, so if you have any questions, you can reach out to us. But very happy to be here to talk to you about our new solicitation platform. Many of you were probably familiar with our previous platform. Hopefully, I know some of you or many of you were not certified, but it doesn't mean that you may have not been registered with LA Babin. So that's kind of a distinction in that specification. Actually, we can go on to the next slide. Very quickly, I and my team are focused, as the Chief Procurement Officer, we are focused on more of the overarching policy, process, and technology around procurement. We are not the actual buyers within the city of LA, but we know who they are and will help you learn how to access them. But being that, and that being our role, we actually started this this challenge or this labor of love by focusing on our solicitation platform, LA Babin. That is the platform where the city advertises its needs, anything that it wants to purchase, anything that it's looking for in terms of construction, commodities, or services. So it's really your first glimpse at what the city is wanting to procure from any of you. And that's why it's important to be registered on this platform. So we used the opportunity. LA Babin was in place for almost 20 years. We used our learnings from that platform to expand it to include other agencies in this space, hopefully, or actually making it easier for businesses to access multiple procurement opportunities in one space. This was actually developed based on a concept that they did during the London Games. It was dubbed Compete for London. It aggregated many of the procurement opportunities related to the Olympics in one space. So we thought we had a really great opportunity to do something similar in our space. There was a lot of desire from departments internally, as well as our business partners externally. So this was a concerted effort. This was a public-private partnership in making this happen. The city does host this platform. And again, we have reached out to several partners that we'll talk about later to participate in this space. Again, LA Babin was replaced fully, but those of you that may have been registered in LA Babin did move over to RAMP, the Regional Alliance Marketplace for Procurement. So we'll talk a little bit about that, even though you may have registered previously, why it'll be important to go back into RAMP and update some key information for your business. We went live with this officially in February 18th of this year. So what is RAMP? Again, we can go on to the next slide. We don't have to tell you that LA is host to many large scale events on a regular basis, let alone our expectation of the World Cup in 2026 and the Olympics in 2028. So we're really wanting to queue our local businesses up for some great opportunity. And we're starting early. Fortunately, when does that happen? That the city of LA starts early, well in advance of something this major, but we did. We started this pre-COVID, and in the midst of COVID, we really understood why this was going to be so critical to our business community post-COVID, whenever we consider that post-COVID. But this is a vital tool that we invite you all to participate on. RAMP is expected to generate $10 billion of opportunities in its first year. The city alone is responsible for $4.5 billion worth of procurement. So if you're not doing business with the city or haven't been, which many of you haven't been, then we might be someone you'd be interested in doing business with. But even if you never want to do business with the city, if you never have or want to, this is still going to be the place to register, because we're going to have many, or already have many partners participating in this space. Next slide. These are some of our partners. You can see the range is wide, many sectors ranging from municipalities, additional municipalities, construction, engineering firms, hospitals, sports and entertainment. We have the Dodgers, we have AEG. Again, a wide range, including our proprietary departments who have always been posting their opportunities, LADWP, the airport, as well as the harbor department or Port of Los Angeles. So they are all looking for you. They have brought in diversity teams. There never has there been a time that there's been such a focus on diversifying vendor pools. And they have come here willingly to this space, eagerly looking to partner with us, looking to find all of you. We have in our database approximately 80,000 businesses registered. So they're actually registered in Babin, ooh, that was a slip, in RAMP, but we have 20,000 of them that are actually certified. The city, actually, we can go on to the next slide. And that's what makes this, this platform unique, is that we offer many things in this one space. It's not just about the city solicitations anymore. This is now about expanding it to those partner solicitations. It's about building your profile. So this is something very different from LA Babin. We have given you the ability to have a LinkedIn type of experience with this new platform. We allow you to build out a profile that you can market your business, talk about who you've worked with, talk about who you are, talk about what makes you stand out, list your certifications. anything that might, again, make your business stand out. So those of you that were in LA Babin, again, you moved over. We made sure that basically you moved over, but you still want to go in and now build out your profiles. That's where the work is going to be, because that's how our partners are going to sort or find you or be better matched with you. So the more detail you can provide, the better they'll be able to find you. So now we've provided you with things like ethnicity. You can actually list your ethnicity, not just your certifications, because some of those are going to want to reach out directly to specific ethnicities regarding their programs. This, again, is something different. We offer certifications for those that the city offers. We do it for free. If we don't offer it, we will point you to resources. We're really trying to create, again, a web or resource page in this space. This will also be where we list our training opportunities. This is where our partners are going to talk about their training opportunities and their outreach events. And those are the things that you're going to want to be interested in, because you want to start developing those relationships. You want to know who these prime contractors are. You want to know what they're bidding on. You want to know if this is something of interest to you. And again, form those relationships in advance. So that's what I mean about this isn't just a solicitation platform. This is really about connecting. It is a marketplace. This is what we intended to create, a place where you can connect with one another in order to grow those relationships and grow your business. So in addition to the profiles, you would want to include in those profiles your NAICS codes, your NIGP codes. Those are the codes that identify the type of business you are, the type of services you provide. The more granular you can go into that, the more opportunities you'll receive. And Jack will go into that in just a bit. Next slide. Very quickly, this is just the new look and feel of the platform. It is live. You can be going through it right now as Jack walks you through. But we really worked diligently in this space to reimagine it, to really make sure it was inclusive of the partners, that it wasn't overly city-centric, that it represented all those participating in this space. We focused on the name because we wanted it to capture the commitment of the partners that are really looking to you to participate in their procurement opportunities. So this was a labor of love, both internally and externally. It will only work if we all participate. We've expressed that to our partners who are posting various opportunities at different dollar thresholds. We've expressed it to all of you who need to register so our partners have access to the vendor pools for their operational needs. So I'm going to hand it over to Jack because he's going to dive in much deeper, because that's what he does, and he knows this backwards and forwards. He's been trying to break the system. We encourage you to do the same thing, because this isn't a one and done and the city's done making improvements around this. We really want it to grow with us over time. We want it to benefit us internally as well as our partners and our business community. So we want the feedback. We are able to make changes much more quickly in this space than we were previously. So we can take that feedback and actually do something with it. So we encourage you to register. There is really no reason you wouldn't register. There is no hurdle to overcome. There are no fees, even to our partners that are posting on this platform. There are no fees. There's no reason you should not register. And again, even if you don't want to do business with the city, many of you don't, but if you do, register. And if you don't, register. So I'll hand it over to Jack.
Yeah, and I don't know if you noticed that Colette smiled when you mentioned something about me trying to break it, because she knows I know where like some of the crevices are in different platforms. So that's why she's smiling, because I helped her when she owned a business. So that's what she's smiling about. So anyway, going forward. So now I can say this sincerely. Jack has been waiting for this platform for 20 years. 20 years we've been waiting for this. We, as a community, as a business community, have been asking, can I go to one place to find everything? Well, here you go. It's now being delivered to you by the city of Los Angeles, the place that I love And I mean, it's beyond obvious that I love LA, right? Let's just call it what it is. So here it is. We now have what we've been asking for decades, right? Here it is. We need to basically, now it's up to us to decide what we're going to do with it. So the cool part about it is right from the beginning, you can do some research, right? Why not do some research on opportunities? So if you want to say, well, let me look up marketing and let me look up any past awards, you can actually do that right immediately, right from the word go. It's always good to do research before you actually respond to a solicitation. The next section in here is where we're going to kind of like look at this more like the educational part. This is where community partners will be posting things, where we'll have educational videos. They'll all be right here in one place. So that basically we're like letting the community know, hey, we're here to help. We're all here to help collectively, right? That's why it's so important for organizations like the SBDC, as well as the business source centers, to be able to say like, look, here we're about collaboration, about working together as one unit. Because at the end of the day, we all have to figure out how do we help business move forward, right? So that's one thing that I really love about this particular spot. Then of course, as you scroll down at the bottom of the page are hot opportunities, things that are active now. So again, if you're looking for something, you want to do a little bit of research, you can also see immediately at the bottom of the page, like opportunities that are going to be happening immediately. So as we go through the next section, the one particular button that excites me the most as both a former prime, as well as now a partner of the organization of this whole thing, is this one button right here. This one button out of this whole website, this one button excites me the most, because I know Shannon mentioned a minute ago, it's like the LinkedIn. This is your LinkedIn view of what it's going to look like here on this platform. So for example, if I am a prime and I'm looking to add more subs, or if I'm a partner, I'm Cedars-Sinai and I want to find only women-owned businesses, or I want to find minority-owned businesses, I can now go to the bottom part of this section right about here, and I can select just that particular group. Like if that is not mind-blowing, that's huge, because now it could be targeted. And why not? It's okay if you're like, you know what, maybe I want to help a specific group. Now, mind you, corporations have a different set of rules than local government, state government, federal government. So kind of look at it from the perspective of if you want to show up to the party, you gotta get on here. That's the bottom line. So looking at it from another thing is, now I actually updated my own profile. I said, okay, let me see what should this look like. And this is what Shannon was talking about, Jack trying to break it. This is where I was trying to break it. I'm gonna see what works and what doesn't work. So I went through and said, okay, let me update my own profile, because I was on Bobbin, now I'm on Ramp. So I'm like, okay, let me go through and let me check this out. So when you click on your own profile, now it looks like this. Notice, before it would just have your name, your ID number, and maybe an address and a contact information. That was it. That was it. Now look at this. You have your certifications all in one spot, your hours of operation, your address. Some of you have both a mailing address as well as a physical address. You can now put that, current contact information, a phone number, where do they reach out to you at? And then we talked about, Shannon mentioned a minute ago, about your NICS codes, your North American Industry System Standards. So now you have your system. But the cool part about it is that not only did it list out your code, it also has a descriptor. So it kind of lays it out. So you're like, okay, and I was working with another young lady a couple of days ago where she was listing out what I thought she did. And then we started getting into the weeds of what actually she does. Her list went from 5 to like 15. I'm like, I did not know you did this. I would have referred other business to you. I didn't know. Again, one of those things you're like, okay, this is an opportunity. And I know Colette and I've had this conversation about expanding this area for PCR, for SBDC. So this is exactly why I was bringing this up. You can also list out your entity number. If you happen to be a corporation or LLC, you can list out your entity number. For those that have a license, whether you're a therapist or you're in construction, or you have your field of work requires a license, you can now put it here. Your head count, you can put it on here. Ethnicity, which Shannon mentioned a minute ago, you can now put it on here. Your structure, as I mentioned before. And now this next section is the part that absolutely blows my mind away. You can now put on your work history. What have you done before that got you to where you're at today? So you can list out your work history. So, and I listed out the city, things that I've done with Toyota, things that I've done with Granger. So these are the things, the advocacy that I've been doing all these decades. I can now list them out. Say, yeah, I've done this. Here it is. And by the way, this particular section has no limit. Just so you know, no limit. I've already tried, no limit. This next section, I really like a lot. Previous contracts. Hey, have you had a contract in the past? For those few of you that said yes, you can now put it on here. Say, yes, I have. I've done work here, here, and here. And maybe in the past, you had other type of work that you've done. You can now list it out here. You can now basically promote your own business. Think about that from a business perspective. Put aside small, put aside minority, put all that aside. As a business owner, you can now promote yourself. That's huge. So with that said, it starts with you. You have to be either A, if you're already in the former Bhavin, now in Ramp, you need to log in and update your profile. Number one, if you are not in either platform, for those of you that are not in the system, you would need to go to this particular website. Again, rampla.org. Upper right corner, there's a button that says login. Right below that, it'll say, I don't have an account. You can click on there. You're going to create an account. It's very straightforward. It's maybe 10, 15 minutes tops to register. So with that said, I guess we can open up to questions. Are there any questions out there?
Yes, there are several questions coming in. One is from Ada, and Ada's asking, as a small business, it feels intimidating to participate in city RFPs. I feel you on that. A few questions. A number of past RFPs we've seen require vast experience in doing work with cities. We don't have such experience. How can we overcome these requirements? And then two, the RFPs have been lengthy. So does this new system simplify how bids are submitted?
Want to start, Jack, or do you want me to?
I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna put this out there, okay? And I'm gonna put this out as a general question. It's not a poll question, but I'm gonna put this out as a question, okay? How do you eat an elephant? I want you to think about that for a moment. How do you eat an elephant? One tiny morsel at a time. Rome was not built in one day. But they're still working on it right now, just so we're clear. You start small, and the city's gonna open this up. If you noticed a minute ago, Shannon mentioned that some of these smaller opportunities are now also going to be posted on here. So now, mind you, there are city rules, there are county rules, there are state rules, and then there's corporate rules. I hope you're noticing that I'm making them smaller, right? So in the city, I believe the number is 25,000. I believe the county is 25,000. That's their delegated authority, meaning that it's a smaller transaction in their eyes, a smaller deal. But on the corporate side, that number can vary between 25,000 and $250,000. I hope you heard what I just said. Their rules are different. So yes, you want to start with some of these smaller opportunities. You want to be a sub, have a subcontractor strategy, and this platform is going to give you that opportunity to promote yourself as a sub to some large contract. So Shannon, if you want to take that away, go for it.
Yeah, the thing is you might not be ready, but this is where you start getting educated. This is where you start connecting. This is where you find contacts. This is, again, where you start to grow. So you might not be ready. It is intimidating, and the city might not be for you, but maybe some of the other cities are. Maybe some of the other partners are. As Jack mentioned, we are working at putting our smaller procurements of 25,000 on the platform as well. We have not had to do that. We have not had to advertise those before. We're not legally mandated or required to do that, but we are going to post them over time because those are the things I think some of you are interested in seeing. Dipping your toe in the water, cutting your teeth on some of these smaller procurement, so you become familiar with how the process works. Angela is on the call. She's part of my team, but she'll talk about how, pre-bidders conference, you can see when those are going to be happening. And those are opportunities to just hear the questions that are being asked, see who's in the room, start to connect with them. ask how they've come into doing business. Jack is in that same arena. Many of you will be subcontractors to prime contractors. So we do business directly with prime contractors, the big contractors, but they are required to outreach to small or to subcontractors. So that is why you want to connect with these primes in these spaces, is to learn, again, more about them, more about their outreach events, what the requirements are. But this is how you start to get experience. I mean, it's no different than, you know, when you started applying for jobs. Over time, you're gonna grow that, but the more ready you can be to actually start competing, because you understand the process. And we are working to create that kind of A to Z. What do you do? Okay, I've registered. Now where do I go? What should I be expecting? It's not enough just to register and say, okay, now the work will come. That doesn't work that way. There's a lot more work to do. There's so many layers to competing in this space, but we are going to work to make it very simple to understand, you know, the types of forms you'll need to fill out, the types of information you'll have to have in place to actually do business with the city. The RFPs are daunting. They are. The city, and I don't know if it's just the city, but government, they throw everything, including, you know, the kitchen sink at an RFP, because not everybody is even familiar with what they're asking for to give the detail that might speak to your particular business. And that's sometimes why you need to expand your business to include NAICS codes that might not exactly fit into what you do, because it might have a component to it. So it's just understanding why you would do that. And again, you're going to get the invitation. This is the invitation to the party. You know, we send out the invites. Come one, come all. Let us know if you'd like to come, join us, and you decide whether or not this is something that you want to attend or not. But also, I want to speak to community level contracting. The city is really working on breaking down those larger contracts into more manageable bite-sized contracts. So those of you that are subcontractors can start competing as primes. We've had a lot of success stories with companies, particularly in construction, that have been able to actually grow their businesses because of those opportunities. And that's where you'd want to connect with those businesses that have done that and have experience in doing that. So it is a process. It's not going to happen overnight, especially if you're brand new to the space, but it doesn't mean that you won't be best suited or fit with one of our partners' opportunities. Maybe it's going to be a lot easier to read what they need and a lot more streamlined because they're not the city of LA. So that's okay. But still register so you can just start to see what's coming in, because you don't have to respond to it, but at least be informed and you make the decision about what you want to work on.
And Shannon, I would say some of the corporate agreements are smaller. So that is something, it just, you know, they're vetting you, but they are smaller than the big. And so I was wondering, if you make the smaller opportunities available, does the RFP get smaller as the dollar amount goes down? So that's a question, you know, does it become easier as the dollar amount goes down to like the 25,000 mark? Go ahead,
Can I answer that one? Can I answer that one? Only because I've done this way too many times, unfortunately. The answer is yes. I have actually seen at the county and at the city, the request is one page. What's your rate for, you know, 500 of this or 500 of that? One page. And actually, and I know that's a little bit weird. I don't think the city has this anymore, but I think the school district does. So I'm going to try to cover this up as best I can. But yes, this little thing, a credit card, some of these government agencies and some of these private sector companies have one of these. That limit has, you know, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, some crazy number. You're like, oh, wait a minute, that's not a contract. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. They are parting with money. They're saying, hey, here's a credit card. Can you get us this stuff delivered tomorrow? Yes, I can. Or, hey, we have an emergency. We need janitorial service. We need this to be cleaned up. We need to be cleaned up now. You have a credit card? Yes, I do. Here you go. They part with money and let's go. So I think that's we have to look at things a little bit differently because now both public and private are going to be in one place.
All right, great, thank you. So question, Julie K is asking, are there specific opportunities for disabled business owners in the social services field?
There could be. The city actually doesn't oversee many of those services. It's primarily the county, but the county mental health, they are on the platform. And we're hoping to gain more of their department's participation in this space. But that's the thing is we actually, I'm going to have Jack talk about the linen story. I mean, we don't know what our partners are going to be posting for. I mean, and that's kind of the exciting thing is that who knows, and especially with the coming events, we're going to be accessing more things that the city has never looked for before. Lighting, catering, restaurants. We don't typically, florists, we don't typically look for those businesses. So now is really the time to just get in there and get familiar. You don't want to wait till the events come up and be learning the system then or how things work then. You want to get in now and get some experience around this. So when you do want to start competing, you're aware of who's posting what, who the players are, who the contacts are. You've probably talked to a few. You want to do that groundwork, lay that groundwork well in advance of really seeing an opportunity that fits you. But we can't imagine what our partners might be posting. In addition to the list that I shared to Cedars, we also just brought in City of Hope. We really have a lot of interest from the hospital industry in this space, and we don't know who else might be wanting to post in this space as well. So do register and see what you see, but go ahead and talk about, I guess, the linen story, right?
That one was weird because now, so we all of a sudden this request went out from Cedars-Sinai looking for linen, and I'm like, okay, now that was a weird one. I'm like, linen. So I know I mentioned to Michael, I'm like, oh, you might want to look in the dry cleaning NICS code. So I said, put that one inside of the system because there's going to be that's a specific code. Because most people go, well, I don't have one of these codes. By the way, if you're not sure what your NICS code is, it's on your taxes. It's under box B on the cover of your taxes. So it's there. Yeah, it's there. And it doesn't matter if you're corporate, LLC, or a single member, it's in the same exact spot. It's box B on your taxes. So and again, I'm going to use an example of, because there's going to be, I think biking is going to be, badminton is going to be in Anaheim. So badminton is going to be in Anaheim. Now you're like, well, why is this important? Because think about it. They're going to need banners. They're going to need flags. They're going to need flowers. They're going to need water. They're going to need all kinds of weird stuff that the city would have never asked for. So now you got to get yourself in there. I was actually talking to a very large dry cleaning company here in the Monrovia area. And I'm like, you need to get on this platform because you never know. They might need towels for the guys that are going to be riding their bikes here in San Dimas. You don't know. You got to get in there early. Don't wait until the last minute. So I would just say, if you're in doubt, just get in there because then now, if they're searching, that search is going to get narrower and narrower, and you don't want to miss out. There are 1.1 million businesses in Los Angeles County. Where are they? We need to get them on the platform now.
So that leads to the next question by J.W. Avery. Are all SIC codes supported on this platform? Also, can you use RAMP as a networking tool for B2B with other small businesses?
Shannon, I'm going to let you handle it. Shannon, you want to take that one or you want me to handle it?
You can start.
All right, so let me start with that one. So what I would advise is that's part of your strategy, right? So let's look at it from this perspective. So the city of Los Angeles put out a solicitation for this because it didn't have a name, by the way. When this opportunity came out, it did not have a name of RAMP, right? They said, hey, you know what? We have this idea. We want to do it. And I'm like, okay, well, I got to practice what I preach, right? So I reached out to the other young man on here, Carlos. Well, he reached out to me. He's like, Jack, you know the city better than anybody else that I know. Why don't you and I collaborate on this? And I'm like, I don't know. And so we started talking. I said, okay, here's what I'll do. I'm willing to do this, but only if all of our subcontractors are small businesses too. Okay, because in the history, at least not that I know of, our response was, yeah, not only are we a business, but everybody we're including is also a small business too. We want to make sure that we're working. It's about networking with each other. It's about building that team behind the scenes. I'm thinking of Dr. Thomas right now. I'm not sure if he's here or not, but Dr. Thomas uses the different platforms to do just that. Find partners that does what he does, and then he's able to kind of strategically position himself to expand his team by using other resources that he's identified on here. So yes, does it do that? Now, I would say if I'm looking for a partner, I want somebody who's done their homework. I want somebody who's actually updated their profile so that I can see, is this somebody that I want to bring on? So I'm going to go back to, you have to update your profile.
Right. That's really great for small businesses to be able to find other small businesses in the area. Angela, thank you for putting in the NACE code. Sometimes you can also put in, just type in the category of business that you're in currently and NACE, and then it will actually, Google can help sort it for you too, and it'll actually bring up where you are in kind of the NACE notebook. So a couple of variety of ways to do that. All right, any other questions? Thank you for sharing the information to check with Jack on support at Ramp LA, and the team will follow up. Any other questions here? We have just a couple of other things to share with you guys, but we want you to definitely have this opportunity to ask the leaders and those that are implementing about this. All right, so we talked earlier, and continue to put questions in the chat. Yes, go ahead, Jack.
I want to say one more thing, because this one in particular drives Jack crazy, okay? Please make sure that you're using our tax dollars. The SBDC is your tax dollar at work. So use these resources that are in a community, whether it's the SBDC or it's the business source centers that are in Los Angeles. These are your tax dollars at work. So go use these resources. Go.
Thank you, Jack. And with that, we have our upcoming next week. For those of you that mentioned that you were not certified and want to know more about that and maybe what the benefits are, please join us at our next workshop. It's Tuesday, May 5th on clearing the fog of certification. Jack and I talk about this all the time, hence the name here. And it's to make sure that you understand how this works. And how to even go about this compliance. I love what Shannon was sharing about getting your feet wet, understanding what's going on. Such great opportunities. I'm thinking 2026 and 2028. So we want to help you all to build your businesses and understand where to go. Use your time wisely so that government is not going to be necessarily all of your business. So you want to make sure your business is strong, so that as you come to these bigger opportunities that you are ready to take them on. And so with that, one of the things that we want to help everyone do here is to work on your financial fitness. We're talking about credit, lines of credit, managing your cash flow, and all of these different areas to help you manage your business. Many of you know PCR, we have loans. We might be able to assist you with procurement. If you are moving up, you've been doing great work, you're ready to expand, we can help you with those capital loans that you might need, as well as you work with your advisors here. So get smart, make sure your business is ready for these great opportunities with the World Cup. And there's a lot of business going on. And I'm hoping that some of you on the call might have even gotten some business, like when the Super Bowl was here. So you got to see maybe you were not connected directly for these opportunities, but now you can add that to your list. You know, you supported a business during the Super Bowl. You can add that into the list of work that you've done in working with larger events. So keep building your capabilities as a business. It doesn't all have to be government, and probably shouldn't if you're starting out. You want to make sure that you are working with businesses that can help you move a little faster, and then you'll be ready for some of the government work. Last upcoming event I wanted to share was we have a sell online with e-commerce tools. So any of you that are selling hard goods and soft online want to share that. And then you can find all of our workshops here, including, we have so many. Make sure you're working on your profit projections so that you are ready. And I want to know, feel free to scan this right now, and then it'll take you to all of the workshops. And then we have one last question to ask you. So all of this great information you received today, if you would put into the chat, the first thing that you're going to do now with the information shared today. So you got this great information. What are you going to do first? What will you do first? If you would put that into the chat, what are you going to do with this information? I'd like to hear from you guys. Make sure you're signed up. Okay, get your Ramp account. Great. Okay, somebody just created their account while they were on the call. Love that. Thank you. Who is that? Delara, thank you for sharing that. Doing some research, signing up. Great. Getting all your information together about your business, understanding where that is. So keep putting that in. And I want to thank the Ramp team today, Jack Ochoa, Carlos Cordoba, Shannon, Hops, thank you for coming on. And Angela, thank you so much for putting in the great information. Okay, I see more registering with Ramp. That's what we want to see. Get your information out there, register, and then start learning about it. And I love the B2B question. That's a really great example of how to expand the network using this. So it doesn't have to go up into the city, getting your partnerships here. And you never know, we look for little small things too. We're always looking for help in small areas, and it's not big enough necessarily for an RFP, but maybe it's a short project or a catering need. We're looking forward to going back live. So, you know, some of these things will start coming back. And so I really appreciate that sharing. Okay, so another one, understand all the data needed to create your account. Good. Do we still offer the business plan workshop? Yes, we do. And that can include the executive plan. I encourage you also taking the 12 steps to disciplined entrepreneurship is also helpful in coordination with that. And I see Naima is going to register for Ramp. Great, thank you. And Jack, yes, go ahead.
I was going to say, if I'll actually have it ready to go. And if you don't mind, I'm going to share my screen.
Go ahead.
And I'm actually going to show you what the platform looks like behind the scenes a little bit. So this isn't actually working. So I'm logged into the system. So as you can see here, you have the opportunity to look up different opportunities that are out there. You can look at professional commodity. If you sell goods and services, you have construction, professional services on here. You can also do type with the award. So I can do different types. So if I want to type in landscaping on here, so I can go there and I can look up, okay, let me go see what opportunities are out there in landscaping, right? If I happen to be in that, janitorial can be put on it. Basically, you have the opportunity to look at it. So I also want to show you under business profiles. It's kind of cool. So I'm actually going to show you, I can now go here on here and say, okay, I'm going to, as part of Women History Month, right? I'm going to look for only women businesses. I can go ahead and click on this one button right here and boom, all the women businesses that the city has in its system now are on Ramp. So these are the businesses that I can identify, like, okay, let me reach out to somebody talking about networking. This is where that opportunity may lie for you. Or because I know there's also the LGBT communities on here as well. You can also add LGBT. You can say, okay, I only want to look for LGBT. You have the opportunity to do that. Or I want to look for, because it's a federal contract, I want to look for DBEs. Bam, here you go. So my point is this, right? You need to make sure that your profile is updated. You'll notice some of these have an email extension, which that's how I now know who's updated their profile and who has not. If I see this, that tells me that they're closer to getting their profile updated. That's how I now know. When I look at this, I'm like, oh, okay, this one has their profile updated. Now, I'm afraid to click on this one because I'm not sure if they have or have not, but I'm going to give it a click. Let's see what happens, right? It's about making sure you have all your information updated. Well, so this guy, the particular individual, updated his certification on there. Oh, look at that. Make sure he has the NICS codes listed out. That's important, right? Look at how important that right there, bam. So he probably only found one on his taxes, but then he probably went through and said, okay, what other ones do I need to make sure I have? So, I mean, this is a very dynamic tool. And again, it was built on a different platform called Salesforce, which is huge, huge program. So I think the opportunity here is really up to us to decide how we're going to leverage this opportunity. So it's really on your own. You really need to take some time to dig into the weeds on this. And what I love about this is that if we find like little like glitches, it's literally one phone call and they'll fix it immediately. And like, that's unheard of. So that's why it's so important for you to make sure that you play with the tool as much as possible. And yes, if you happen to break it, there's a support number, support@rampla.org. You know, I mean, that's the bottom line. You have the opportunity here to be a part of something great. So I would highly recommend that you get on the platform and basically it really is up to you to kind of take it from there.
So one other question here, does RAMP have a biz procurement listserv where based on NAICS codes, business owners receive updates on upcoming bids? I know that used to be part of Bavin.
Do that one more time.
So basically you get a generated email when certain procurement comes up, you'll get something that says, oh, this RFP with your NAICS code comes up. I've seen that with the primes will often use those to send out emails. And then sometimes you would get an email if your NAICS code came up. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, it's still there. It's still there. I actually saw that earlier. And that's how Michael from Cedar Sinai found the linen company. He typed in the code and then narrowed it down to that specific area. Yes.
Okay, great. Great. Thank you for those questions, you guys. I see there are a few people coming in a little on the late side. We will make sure to capture them and get them this information. So thank you all for coming today. Thank you for your great questions and completing the polls. Yes, go forward. Let's get up and running on this and let's coordinate together. Get your business strong. Let's be ready in 2026 for these great opportunities. Go get it, everybody. And we are here to help. Thank you all and have a wonderful day. Thanks so much,
Shannon. Thank you for being here. Thank you.
Thank you, RAMP team. Appreciate you guys. Here, I'm going to put our information back up if you need to get in touch with us at info@pcrsbdc.org. Thanks, everybody, and have a wonderful day. Take care. See you soon, Jack.